Hello, welcome back to another video on the RadioMaster TX16S, brought to you by AV14. And today we are going to be looking at how to use the Spektrum DXe as a trainer with the RadioMaster TX16S as a secondary. And all you're going to need are the two transmitters and this regular 3.5mm aux cable. And I seriously just pulled this off of the back of, a speaker, and it works great as a trainer cable. I will say you can also use one of those cheap Turnigy remotes or Fly Sky remotes. I'll put that in the link in the description. The ports look a bit different though, so they require some modding. So let's power up the transmitter and get going. First, we're going to go into model setup, and this is going to be creating the trainer switch. So we're going to go to model setup, scroll over to special functions, and we're going to scroll down, select the new special function, and we're going to assign it to a switch. And again, this only works for, on 3-position switch, it's only one position per function. So we chose the neutral position of a 3-position at the top, and we're going to scroll over so the function is trainer. And you can do all sticks, but you can also just do individual channels like ailerons, rudder. So if you want, you can have one level of trainer be just ailerons and elevator, and then the next level of trainer just be full sticks. And remember, you do have to activate that as well just by highlighting that little checkbox. Now we're going to set up the home page so we can see our values and we don't need our physical model. So you hit telemetry, and I like to scroll over and then hit edit on the top bar, and what I do is I scroll over to, I think it's value or number, and then select that, and then the source is battery or BAT. I think it's BATT, and so what that'll do is tell you the transmitter's internal battery level, which is really helpful when you're programming, because you can get a general idea of how much battery you're going to have left on your transmitter. So next we're going to go back into this little interface setup, and I accidentally pressed this button again, so it kind of cleared all my widgets, but basically you're going to do setup widget, and you're going to click this little one and then scroll over to channels, and this will give you a channel map of what % all your channels are. And I'm just putting back the picture of the model here because I like it there. And once we click return a few times out of edit mode, you can see whenever we move the sticks, so does the channel map. Once we have our trainer switch configured and we can have a visual representation of what our model's doing, we can simply go ahead, take that 3.5mm cable, plug it into the top of the RadioMaster, and on the DXe, the trainer port is in the back, so we can go ahead and plug that in the back of the DXe. And for the Spektrum DXe, you don't actually have to turn on the transmitter at all, so it'll automatically come on, and it's powered by the TX16S. As you see here, I'm testing out the trainer switch, so if you remember that switch, the neutral position was trainer, so we put that in a neutral position, and you notice that there are kind of weird things going on in the channel map. The throws aren't going all the way, and that's because there's a rates button on the DXe, so we just have to flip that into high rates to get as much throws as possible. And as you can see here, there are some funky things happening with the channel map, and the throttle, which is on, I think, channel 3, is one of the more noticeable things, but also our aileron and rudder are switched. Luckily, though, this is a really easy fix in the TX16S. So we're going to click our sys or system key and scroll over to the trainer setup page. Now, I will mention that the channels that are displayed in the actual function or the actual control surface are completely different. So on the DXe, I'm pretty sure it's on channel 1, the throttle's on channel 1. However, on the RadioMaster TX16S, the throttle's on channel 3. So, and it might be different from your model and your trainer as well. So you just have to kind of mess around with that. It took me a bit of finagling as well. And to flip the channels, it's as simple as selecting which channel needs to be flipped or which stick needs to be flipped or reversed, excuse me. Going into that, editing that, and then changing that from 100 to -100. And as you can see, when we give right stick on both transmitters, and we go in from regular transmitter into trainer mode, that first channel, which is our aileron, stays the same, which is exactly what we want. And that process is rinse and repeat for other channels that may need to be reversed on the trainer, excuse me. In this case, that is my rudder channel. Next, we got this kind of goofy throttle thing that we're going to fix. So you'll notice on the TX16S we have full range of motion on the throttle. When we switch it into trainer mode, only half of it gets activated, and that's the bottom half of the stick controls the top half of the throttle. So it's kind of an interesting thing to look at on the channel map, but it's an easy fix. Just hit that sys key, go over to our trainer setup, and you see that little colon equal sign. We're going to switch that so it's plus equals sign, and that'll basically just start the throttle channel for your trainer at 0 and go up from there. And as you can see on the channel map now, we got all that figured out. Next, we are going to assign sounds to switches. And to do that, we just have to go to the model setup and go over to special functions, make a new special function, and again, only one position at a time for these special functions. And since our trainer is on the neutral position of this 3-position switch, we're going to have that in the neutral position. And then we're going to scroll over to play track and then scroll down to the bottom and click on trainer on, or TRNON. Now we repeat that process, except we have the position of that switch in the up position for trainer off. So at the end, we have the neutral position as
trainer on,
up as
trainer off, trainer on, trainer off.
And last but not least, we're going to go over how to create a global volume knob. So we're going to hit that sys key, scroll to global functions, and we're going to create a new one. And instead of selecting your volume knob initially, you're going to want to scroll over to act for action. And then once you got that selected, you go to volume, and then for the source, then that's when you choose your volume knob. And then you, of course, highlight the box to make sure it's activated.
On, trainer off, trainer on, trainer off.
Anyways, that is all I have for you guys today. Thank you for tuning in to AV14, and I'll catch you in the next one.